The Bucks boycotted Game 5 after the NBA canceled Wednesday night's games in the name of social justice. But yesterday, the players reached a decision to, in fact, resume the playoffs either today or Saturday. The league's still figuring out the schedule. But, Chris, what was your reaction to how all of yesterday unfolded?
Well, obviously the basketball fan in me, as in all of us, is excited that the games are going to be played. It's just been terrific basketball in the bubble. And so I'm happy about that, as I'm sure everybody else is. But I support the players in their decision to come back. And I dispute the notion that's out there that they got nothing accomplished because they're going to play, after a, 2, maybe 3-day boycott. I would say, number one, they put the owners, the commissioner, the corporate sponsors, and the networks on notice that we will go there, that the nuclear option of walking out is now on the table. And if we don't, going forward, if things don't change, we are willing to go here. And we saw what the ramifications could be, not just in the NBA, but this could spread to Major League Baseball and maybe even the granddaddy of them all, the NFL. And then you are talking about really being able to make some real change and throwing upheaval into the world of sports and even business. So I think that was achieved. Secondly, when you look at tangible possible results, the Milwaukee Bucks were on the phone with the Attorney General and Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin. And they joined the governor in calling for the Wisconsin legislature to start meeting next week on Monday to look at a police reform bill that's been on the table for more than a month and hasn't been looked at. So if that is achieved, that is a tangible change and result that you can trace directly to the Bucks' decision a few days ago to not play. So, and then, of course, getting the owners involved. If the players can get the owners to support them as equal partners in this fight for justice and not just supportive bystanders, then that also could be a win. So I think that some good has come out of this and will come out of it. So, again, I support the players.
So here's the thing. The folks who are most adamant that the NBA players accomplish nothing by returning, many of those folks are the same people who are most adamant that they shouldn't have stopped playing to begin with. And so we can try to combat these folks with logic, with facts. Like, okay, the NBA players boycott. All of a sudden then, the Baltimore Ravens, one of the most powerful corporations in the state of Maryland, releases a statement that is calling for the arrest of Breonna Taylor's killers, calling for the end of qualified immunity. That didn't come out of thin air. That was the product of a light being shined even brighter on what's going on thanks to the players' boycott. But here's the problem, and this is where it is tough at times, and I don't mean to say, this is going to sound arrogant, but I don't mean it to. This is where it's tough being on the right side of history, is the folks that you're arguing with are so shameless that they don't need any level of consistency. They don't need to not be hypocritical. They can, in the same breath, explain why it is the reason the Second Amendment is so sacrosanct is because you have to be able to protect yourself against an oppressive government, and later that day, support the oppressive government. Like, there is no level of like, well, wait, hold on a second there, sir. I think there's a hole in your logic. Because the logic is, if you're loud and black and you stand up for yourself, I'm against you. And so the folks that are mad at the NBA, of course they are. They spent a few weeks pretending they cared about the horrors in China, which was a good break from them pretending they cared about the horrors in Chicago. They don't actually care about those things. It's just a way to silence black people. And so I think it is important to, it's hard to dismiss, tens of millions of people. But on this issue, I don't care what they think, because what they think is, what does LeBron think? I'm on the other side. LeBron's not going to play. They should play. Oh, he's coming back? Coward, why didn't you quit? It's all, and it's not just LeBron, just using him as an example. Right. And so I think that's what's happening here. And Brandon, I think a lot was accomplished simply by stories like the one you told yesterday, being out in the public eye and potentially moving some of the people that are somewhat in the middle on this issue.
Yeah, I mean, I was relieved that the guys made the decision to go back. And the reason why is because of everything that's going on. Chris, sport and entertainment has always been an escape for us since day one. And now we're throwing our athletes to the forefront of this discussion and say, listen, it was your responsibility, but now it's your job. And I just don't agree with that. I think we need to be responsible with the platform we've been given, but we literally pay men and women to do this job every single day. They are making a career out of this. So to ask our guys to carry this burden by themselves and our women, it's just not fair. Okay, but I will say this. They're doing a phenomenal job. If I'm them, I embrace this moment. I play my brand of basketball. I go lights out. If I'm LeBron James, I drop 60 tonight, and then I push the conversation back in the forefront. Because now the entire world, the attention is surrounding this bubble. This is the moment for you guys. But play basketball. Use this to continue to push the conversation forward. Now, after being relieved, I turn on my phone and my phone is being blown up. I got all my ex-Chicago Bears teammates hit me up about Brian Urlacher, a guy that I've always used as the example of true leadership, a guy that I say, not all these people on my wall, out of all these guys, and I got over 100 jerseys, the one guy that I say, I got Larry Fitzgerald right here. Or sorry, on the other side, Larry Fitzgerald.
There you go.
This is the ultimate pro. Yeah, this is the ultimate pro. But out of all of these guys, the one person that I always highlight is Brian Urlacher because of how he leads. And then this guy stands up and says something like that and divides us even more. And it made me go down this rabbit hole that I've never gone down before. I've never followed any negative blogs. I never even read any negative comments because it's a waste of time. Never done it. And then I'm reading the comments underneath him. I'm saying, who is entertaining this? And I find this one guy, got a little blue check, and I go to his post. He has like 100,000 followers, and all of these people are following this guy, and he's literally telling people to arm themselves and then be violent. And then I see my neighbor. This is real. I see my neighbor like his post. I see ex-teammates like his post. And that was the scariest thing for me because I never realized that I'm living in the locker room with guys that feel this type of way. And that, to me, is why these guys walked away, because they're probably reading these things every single day and understand the comments. So it's awesome that they're back, but I can only imagine the pressure that they may feel and the guilt for playing basketball while black people are being gunned down in the streets. This is a big moment for these guys. Embrace it, play your brand of basketball, and push the conversation forward.
Kevin?
Chris, I'm going to ask you to draw on your experience as a sideline reporter. I know you're on the front lines of Donald Sterling. And Doc's unique position as galvanizing that team post-Donald Sterling, and how you think, how he moves as we start to play basketball again with this shadow of the real world over us.
Well, Doc is obviously one of the most respected people in the NBA, not just as a coach, but as a man. And that was clear yesterday when Chris Paul asked Doc to speak to the players. Now, we know that Chris and Doc had their issues as player and coach with the Clippers. And even the way Chris forced his way out of there and to Houston wasn't really great. But the fact that he asked Doc to speak to the players showed how much he respected Doc. Of course, Doc was there as a player like them. Doc has been a coach. Doc is obviously close with the owner, so he knows that side as well. And Doc is, had been in an interracial marriage, so he's dealt with racism on that front as well. So Doc is just a great asset to the league and the players, and they all respect him so much. And then his speech the other night, I mean, that moved everyone who really is interested in seeing change and positive change in this country. To see a man that accomplished, that strong, that powerful, who is the son of a police officer. To see him break down emotionally the way he did, I just think was a galvanizing thing for players, and that's another reason they wanted him to speak.
Well, we're going to hear from Doc Rivers coming up in a little bit, but on the other side, we're going to take a turn, talk a little football. Tom Brady wasting no time making friends down there in Tampa. Brandon's going to tell you just how popular